Dr. Aaron Chapa and the Living Well podcast here in studio. Feel free to share this out, ask questions, let us know what you have going on today. We want to know, did you have a good Christmas? And I guess what your plans are for the new year. Dr. Chapa, how you doing today?
Hey, Gardy. Sarge, good to be here with you and the team. Thank you for amazing year. Here we are at the tail end. I mean, can you believe it? It is yet another chapter about to turn the page.
Yeah, this year went by really quick. Got a lot done, though.
Yeah, and as did I. It was definitely a whirlwind, and I just remember like parts of the year, like these Facebook memories pop up, these Google photo things pop up, iCloud photo memories pop up, things you should kind of recap your year. And I think it's good. I think that I remember Mark Victor Hansen, a motivational speaker and just world-renowned book author. It was involved in the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Many people would probably be familiar with, but he's written some other really great reads. He would always talk about revisiting your year, like going back and looking at your old notes that you took from church or from your journal, hopefully that, it's something that you do, or even old, Bible studies that you might have been a part of. Flip open the books and just, go and look at some of the questions that provoked thought and revisit what, you were going through or what you were thinking. Look at old pictures, click, got it. That's why we take all the photos so that we can go back and revisit them. Now, unfortunately, we've got, it's no more click. It's like click. You take like 15, 20 photos of the same thing, looking for that one perfect shot in hopes that somebody everybody in there's got their eyes open. But you can go back in time and you can just appreciate where you have been with a hope and a desire and a goal to look forward to where you're going. So we are, moving forward in going into 2023 with just a newfound outlook on how to simplify and create excellence in our lives. And we're going to kick off the year for me. What I'm going to be doing on the 2nd, it's going to be a Tuesday. I believe that's correct. Is that correct? No, it's a 3rd. The 3rd is a Tuesday. I'm going to be doing I'm going into a gallbladder liver flush. So this will be my 22nd or 23rd one of those, and it's a 4 days apples, pears, and applesauce program where literally it's a restrictive diet, but it is designed to starve the body of fat and build up bile for 3 to 4 days, and then to drink 4 ounces of olive oil and lemon juice and purge out any stones, gallstones, liver stones, bile duct stones that could be just kind of built up in the tissues from the years, like changing the oil is the best way I can describe it. And so that'll happen on that first Saturday, and then I'll go right into my 21-day detox. So, I'm really excited about just, seeing how number 43 looks and what can I still learn? What can I still appreciate about the process of, detoxification? Like we talked about it before, like why do we, get up and exercise? It's the same reason we get up and eat breakfast every day. It's a part of who we are and what is necessary for longevity. We got to go back and say, are we doing everything we can do in order to feel the best we can feel? So if you don't like how you feel, guess what? We got an answer. And we want to be a part of your team. We want to help you find, that little foothold so that you can take off into the new year feeling great, living great, being creative as we know you can be, having filled full of energy, vim, vigor, and vip so that you can be the best for your family, the best for your, for yourself, the best for your job, the best for life in general, and ultimately the best for Christ and being that new creation that you've been called to and been given. I think it's just a really great way to, kind of appreciate moving into the new year. What is your plan? So I wonder how many people have a plan, right?
You got to have a plan.
Yeah, that's right.
Something.
People don't plan to fail; they just fail to plan. So if you're never done a detox, we'll happily hold your hand and teach you, coach you, and give you the resources to make it as efficiently and easy and effective as possible. If you're a veteran detoxer and you've never done the Ultimate Detox program, we'd encourage you to come and be a part of that too, because I find continuously that this detox that we have put together over the years and have tweaked over the years, it's amazing. The blood needs to be cleaned. The liver gets to get purged. The lymphatics get to get flushed. The bowels get to get cleaned out. It is just an overwhelmingly beneficial program for every tissue, cell, organ, gland in the body. And we get excited about detoxification at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. We have built our practice around, cleaning out the bowels and cleaning up the liver and open up the lymphatics and making sure there's no stagnant cesspools of trash, waste, or infectious buildup that can potentially, knock you down, knock you out. And so we definitely know, whether you are a rookie and never done it or you're a veteran and you've done it before, we encourage you to come back and do it again, because your body will say thank you. The kickoff, remember, it's 3 months worth of work packed into 3 weeks. I mean, it's just outstanding. So we have an information class coming up. We can post in the link below, and we have the actual class is getting started. We're going to have small group coaching, and just really excited about, how that all kind of plays out, and getting involved intimately with people and helping them overcome some of these food challenges and these addictive behaviors that they have towards food, or these just overall, bad psychological, thoughts towards food. I mean, can you imagine? We kind of appreciate that people have a psychological challenge around people, relationships possibly. But, do we ever, associate that same psychological disfigurement towards food, like where we have the wrong idea of what food is?
Right. I would say a lot of people do. Even people, probably people in my family I can think of. I'm not going to start, naming anybody.
Because they could be listening, then
right.
That'd be trouble.
And everybody's in trouble.
Then you're off the Christmas list.
Yeah, for next year.
But then you got 300 and some odd days to get back on it.
Can make it up. Yeah, that makes sense. People, you could almost get counseling because you have those connections towards different things like food, or, but you hear the word like, oh, it's a triggering thing, but food could be that way, or, situations,
Absolutely.
Holidays can be that way as well.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot of people. We still got a holiday coming up. We still have the first of the year, and people are, peer pressured into, lifestyle unhealthy behaviors around the holidays. And so the whole idea is, how do we get people to choose wisely more often than not? And so if you know that you're going to be, indulging and doing things that maybe aren't as beneficial to your body as you think they ought to be, make sure this week, all week long, you're on point. You're cleaning up your diet. I would say that, you could find ways to take like some of your holiday pie, right? You don't need it, but you're going to want it later. Mm-hmm. Well, freeze that thing, put it in the freezer and give it to yourself in a month after you've done a detox, or 3 months later, and you'll be surprised the eating habits all throughout the week, and you make sure that your system is running clean all throughout the week. You're going to find yourself in a better place when the holiday hit you, whatever holiday is that you have coming up.
Because there is always one.
There is always one, absolutely. And so, but again, just, a little final, to do on that detox. Man, the detox is just a way that we have had patients come in with everything from something extreme like cervical cancer that wanted to do a detox, to somebody that was just struggling with migraines, to somebody that had high blood pressure. And we've been able to see, just cleaning out the system, the plumbing, everything begins to work effectively, and the body doesn't have to manifest those toxins in those areas that create the cancer, or that drive the blood pressure, or that drive the migraine. And so, to be encouraged, just because you have a diagnosis right now doesn't mean that you have to live with that diagnosis. It's just a name. Thankfully, it has to bow to the name of Christ, and we can, claim that and be excited about that, and then we can do something on our side to make sure that you're your best you now, and give you tools and resources to clean the system out. The system is really, when it gets diseased, it's because of some toxic burden. It's because of some sort of buildup or stagnation in the body. And so the more and more I listen to people's stories, I had a guy come just reach out to me this weekend, and he goes, I'm itching all over my body, and I don't know how to get it to stop, and even cortisone creams won't fix it, and da-da-da. And he goes, but I took the EnviroForce, and it seemed like it knocked it out for 3 hours. But I don't think I have an allergy, but it seems like it's an allergy. That's an allergy pill, right? And I'm like, yes, that's what we use for allergies. And he goes, but I don't understand why. And the reality is I said, well, it really comes back down to the holidays. You ate some foods that you weren't normally eating. You probably overconsumed and even went back for an additional seconds or thirds later in that day. Your system got backed up. Your liver got overworked, and it couldn't process the good smell things, aromas coming out of the wall outlets that you have all throughout your home. And now all of a sudden you've got an allergic reaction that the EnviroForce was able to knock down through a histaminic response. It was able to drop that histamine level down to something more tolerable. So what we need to do is we need to do a bowel cleanse, and then we need to open up the liver and flush the lymphatics, and your body's going to be clock and ready to rock, and you're going to feel like $1 million again in no time flat. And it just I think that when you can help people understand why their body's breaking down, then they can appreciate that they're in control of their health through the choices that they are making through diet, through exercise, through fluid intake or the lack thereof, or the right choice of fluids to be putting in the body. It comes back down to that. What do you want? Because I want to eat all the fast food and the fried food and the greasy food just like anybody else. I was talking to somebody over Christmas, and they were like, when I'm 90, I hope that you just let me eat, all I want, I'm telling you right now, is tacos from Jack in the Box. And I was like, oh, the days. I remember, 12 a.m., 1 a.m. drive-thrus, Jack in the Box, tacos.
They're still there, Dr. Chapa. They still offer that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Even at 12 a.m.? They probably do.
Yes,
So, I haven't had those in quite some time. Don't even remember the last time I had. I literally cannot recall. I've gotten away from that kind of stuff. But isn't it interesting, like even in our preparations, I was hearing somebody prep that they wanted to eat apple pies from McDonald's, French fries and Frosties from Wendy's, and tacos from Jack in the Box. So I think it's just kind of classic that people have already planned out their junk food run in the later part of the year, right? Of their years. Mm-hmm. And they're like easily this person's 30 years away from that. And so we do have a little bit of a derangement in the way we approach food, and I think that's one of the things we have to come back to and say, okay, if I'm going to live my best life all the days of my life, fully functional, spirit, mind, and body, and I really, let's stop that for a second. Spirit, mind, and body, fully functional. That means that, we have our mental cognitive thoughts flowing healthily, that we remember and recall names, numbers, and words, and we want the mind to be functional. Body, we want the body to not be decrepit and faltering, where we can't enjoy moving about the cabin of life, if you will, being free to go. And then, of course, in our spirit, we don't want to stop growing spiritually in the Lord. And I think if the mind is broken, it's harder to grow spiritually. If the body is broken, it's harder to grow spiritually. It doesn't mean you can't. It just means that it's just harder, right? And so if we start thinking about the bigger picture of what it is, why we want it, in the years to come, I mean, people that live to be over 100 years old, centenarians, have been shown to have three things in common. They have something to live for, they're not on any medications, and they don't have any issues with their teeth. So, I mean, we always know that if you look the gimp horse in the mouth and you look and you see how healthy their teeth are, you can determine how healthy the animal is. So your teeth are important, okay? If you have no medications coming in, you've been living a life, through the years. It's not like a roll of the dice. Oh, I'm scathed Park Place and Boardwalk, every time I went around the Monopoly board. It's that you strategically set your life up to where medicines weren't something that you were dependent on in any way, shape, and form. And I would even take that not just medicines, but chemicals. Chemicals and stimulants and the constant need for speed, if you will, to get out of the boat that you're in. And so and then of course that last little piece, something to live for, if you have something to live for more than, what your taste buds are prompting you to go get, then it could be grandkids. It could be, being able to make sure that, like, one of the things that we're doing right now with some folks that I'm getting to work out with is just being able to get down and up off the floor and back onto our feet, making sure our joints are fluid and mobile and fully and able to get into that flex position. Because what happens as we get older, those tissues get more and more, toxic, and they get crud built up in them. And if we can keep the crud from building up in the joints, because your joints are a storage site for toxins, then your joints flow more freely, and you're more apt to keep on moving. And what do we know about the dude that keeps on moving?
He keeps grooving.
He keeps grooving, and that gets us excited about, longevity. And so longevity of how you want your life to look like after you've done built it comes from, what choices that are you making today? And so if you've got something to live for, grandkids, husband, spouse, wife, a dog even, God, you've got to find that driving force that allows you to get your hiney out of bed every day and light a candle under your rump. So, and I learned something that camels, the reason that they could light a candle under their hiney towards the if they knew that water was in the distance, they could get their animal to them. When obviously getting a camel to get up, if they would light a fire under their butt, literally, it would prompt them to pop up, because they're not dumb, but they could be exhausted, tired at the end of their rope, and they don't have anything else to give, and they just need that little motivation. And a candle light or a little fire under their butt is all they need to get them up and get going just one more step. And the difference between the winners and the losers is just one more step. Like, we want you to just accept that age is going to happen to you. I want you to put energy and vitality into the age that you've been given, and look at age like a gift. Every year that you're on the planet, every book that you read, every person you interact with, every story you tell, every experience you have is something to be passed on and to push you to greater heights. And this is exciting going through, through our life philosophically, because it gives us, rhyme and reason. I think that sometimes it's easy to say, I want to be 125 when I'm 26 or 27. I have energy, zero pain. I'm still very, very active and functional, and my body's performing for me in ways that, it doesn't seem like it's a problem. It's now at 43, I go, whoa, like that 125 is a long way away, number one. So that's good news. I still got, plenty of time to get stuff done. But what do I know is that whenever I get into the upper echelon of years, I'm going to have seen quite a few friends and family members and people in my past relationships pass on, so it could be a little bit lonely. So you have to have something driving you deep down in order to push you to continue making those good decisions. And so, I'm struggling a little bit right now because I do all these exercises in the morning, and I'm thinking, all right, a lot of the exercises that I'm currently doing are longevity exercises. What about the now? What about the instant gratification? What about the victory and win today? Because a lot of the exercises, it's me training in the shadows. It's me doing the daily discipline when nobody's watching, and for me, just hopes that I live fully functional in spirit, mind, and body all the days of my life. 125 is what I'd love to see, and fully functional. Like, I always got to go back to that, because I want to paint that subconscious picture, like telling my subconscious that no, we're not just going to live long. We're going to live long and prosper. We're going to be healthy and vibrant all the days of our life and feel great all the days of our life. And we're going to have put in to life, and when we turn this earth suit back in, it's going to have some dents. It's going to have some been through some stuff. It's going to have had some adventures and stories to tell. And these are these faith walks that build us spiritually over the course of our years. And so, health really does drive how we attack tomorrow, how we attack today, and how we maximize, the loss of yesterday. So anyway, that's a little detox is just one of those pieces that helps me get to that place. And then just lifestyle practices in general, like, getting good sleep. Are you sleeping well? If you're not sleeping well, a detox could be a benefit to you because it's going to help clean out receptors in the brain that are preventing your brain from shutting down at night or staying down at night into a good deep sleep state. We don't appreciate that the brain can also be a site for toxins. And when your brain has a buildup of toxicity, that toxic burden, when it settles down into the brain, you might have too much stimulant sitting in those receptors and your brain won't stop racing. And then you are constantly just laying in bed, just staring at the ceiling and wondering why it takes you 45 minutes to an hour or 3 hours, I've seen, for a person to fall asleep. I mean, that's got to be, that in and of itself makes me anxious, right? We got to be going, okay, what can we be doing to, take our body's health into its own hands? My daughter came in last night and she says, and I think it might have been like 12:30, 1 o'clock. She woke me up and she goes, I need some supplements. I got a headache. I'm like, what happened? I mean, this is midnight and I'm asleep. So, I mean, she's kind of talking to a guy that's sleeping. But I just remember, because it's health stuff, so I'm always kind of attuned to that. That's my mommy ear, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, yeah, honey, what? But she goes, I ate too much cheese at our Christmas fest this weekend. And I'm like, oh. I said, well, here's some calcium magnesium powder that'll rest your brain. Go get some intestinal cleanse number 1. That'll push the bowels, and take some AF beta food to open up the liver and move trash through. Back to sleep I go. She disappears. We'll find out how we did when we get home today, right? I mean, and it's her job to remember the list. It's my job to just spit it out. And but literally, I can just see, like, literally, it's pitch black. I mean, I am out. But I do remember, either it was a dream or I don't think it was. But she comes in and she knows what she did. And I try to have taught my kids that food, hey, indulge, fine. But just know that there's potentially going to be a cost. And so I don't want you to feel like you can't indulge. Just know that you've got to tell me what the aftermath looks like so I can help you clean it up. Another kid comes to me on Sunday and says, Dad, I got this white spot on my tonsil. Oh, looks like a little bit of strep building up. And people might be going, what? Like that needs antibiotics. No, it doesn't. You just need to flush the bowels. I mean, she's clogged up for sure. And that's what's happening. Is it's backing up into the lymphatics, and it's looking for that storage site. It will go into the brain. It will go into the joints. It will go, into those storage facilities. But in this case, it was still in process, and it was backing up into her throat and in her ear. So she was getting a little bit of ear ache and a little bit of strep action. And I said, all right, this is what we need to do. We need to open up the bowels, we need to push the liver, we need to drain the lymphatics, and of course, I can give you a quick little adjustment, and down the road we go. And but you don't. All you need to do is make sure that the bowels are moving. I could have just worked on her bowels, and she would have been just fine. Because once this opens up, everything just drains. And I had my mom was telling me a story yesterday that she woke up yesterday morning, her disposal was running. There was nothing stuck in the disposal, but there was no no water going down the disposal side of her sink, and she couldn't figure out what it was, and it kind of set her back 20 minutes to try to figure it out. She finally went and got one of those sink plungers and sink plunged the sink, and guess what happened? All is well. There was a little clog in the line, and all of a sudden that backflow that was building up into the sink just, and that's all the lymphatics needed. In my daughter's case. I mean, and yesterday she was fine as she could be. Yesterday was Monday, right? I mean, so inside of Sunday evening, having that big, ulceration on her tonsils, on her left tonsil, it was completely gone, and the tonsils weren't even inflamed come Monday. So it's easy to say. You might say to yourself, "Oh, then it wasn't strep then, because strep takes days to fix, and only antibiotics can fix it." I'm like, no, that's a way that has been used in the past, but that doesn't mean it's the only way. And if you understand the physiology and how the body works, I sit back and I just watch these different videos of, anatomical dissections and physiology of how, the body works under these precepts. And I'm fascinated because, I look at all that and I'm like, this is what I'm interested in. I love watching anatomy and physiology come to life. And so, this guy was talking about how cigarettes and vaping still have been, there's a link between the fluids in these vape pens that are causing, pneumonia-like symptoms, but it's not pneumonia, but they treat it like it because they don't know exactly what it is because of the different types of chemicals that are in those fluids in those pens, and they are toxic to the lungs. So even though vaping in and of itself might be, it's not, but it might be better than smoking cigarettes, there's chemicals in those vape pens that can create toxicity in our lungs and create, if you will, a burden that the lungs can't overcome, and it will start to represent signs and symptoms of difficulty breathing or pneumonia-like symptoms, shallow breathing, and then fluid buildup, and then it leads into stagnation. That stagnant cesspool is the infectious brewing petri dish. And once it takes root and takes over, that's where the problem, lies. And so my kids come to me and they say, so are bugs bad? And I'm like, no. Bugs that are not subdued, bugs that are not controlled, that are not managed are the problem. And so you have millions and trillions of bugs present in you right now, on your skin right now, on your mouth, in your mouth right now. They're everywhere. You're not going to get it. I mean, the dog just licked you, for crying out loud. I mean, who knows what they've been doing? And so, you've got to look at and take a step back and say to yourself, hey, it's not that the bugs are bad, it's that the terrain is out of balance. And so, at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're all about getting the terrain back in order. Good bugs, good yeast, bad yeast, making sure the parasites are under control, and that your body is synergizing, leveraging the help of the bugs to maximize efficiency in protecting itself in the surviving state so that it can better thrive and set itself up for something great. And that's what happens when the body is firing on all 8 cylinders, because the vitamins and minerals are intact. Your essential fatty acid levels are where they need to be. Your body is cleaned out and running effectively. You have mental clarity. You can remember things, names, numbers, words. You can have the energy to power through the day and not feel like you're crashing between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. And it's always between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, because that's when that adrenal system begins to falter and to malfunction on you. And so, yes, it would be great to get an afternoon nap, but you're probably not going to get one. I mean, especially if you got kids, especially if you got a job. Our world here in the United States isn't set up that way. And so we have to maximize and how we live so that we don't have those crashes. We have to maximize how we live so that we can fall asleep in a timely, orderly manner, right? So, at Living Well, we are a full spectrum association to get inside your orbit to help you with whatever your health need is, wherever it is. If it's pain and inflammation in the joints, we've got inflammation protocols to help reduce that pain and inflammation, because you could have toxic buildup. There's this stuff that gets built up in your joints called guanidine. Sounds kind of like bat guano. It's not, but it might as well be, because it causes pain and inflammation in your joints. And we have specific, nutrient protocols to help flush that trash through the liver and not allow it to build up in the joint capsules and inflame those joints and so that you can keep those joints hydrated through mobility. So this is very exciting, because your body needs a cleanse on so many different levels. And so you can really look at like supplemental interventions that we offer at Living Well are nothing more than like software upgrades. We're continually doing software upgrades to maximize how your nervous system integrates with your endocrine system, and how your endocrine system and your nervous system integrate with your immune system. And what you're really building is now an immune alliance to go out and be the best version of you. Your cells are healthier, your thinking power is healthier, your body is physically regenerating and coming online in a really powerful way. It's just wonderful to watch a body that's running on all 8 cylinders begin to thrive instead of just kind of get through the day. And I think that's what people are after, is they just don't know that the the symptoms that they're having aren't a product of old age or aging because they've been told or taught that. And that's what we're trying to teach people when we go, take them through care plans, that they don't have to suffer or live with the ills that they are dealing with at whatever age, at whatever diagnosis, at whatever medication you're on. There's a way out, and there's a better way if you choose appropriately. So we could go to look at food. What food are you eating that's slowing down your system or inflaming you? Well, if we could look at the different medications, potentially there's a side effect in there. If you have 3, live that way. You don't, just because they develop in your body, what does that mean, Gardy? If they can develop, they can also
Undevelop. That's always probably pretty exciting to see as people come into your office and they're dealing with these issues, and then they undevelop, and they probably didn't know life could be this way.
Absolutely. And I would say this. Molly was just telling me a story yesterday. She's one of the other clinicians in our office, and she had a lady come in, and she was like, "I'm not ever taking supplements. I'm never, I might change my diet. Da 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 da." And Molly was like, "Oh, okay, it's no problem," because we talk about this stuff and how to address everybody right where they're at. And so I was really proud of her because, she's a good student in application of this stuff, and she knows that I would say then just add to her diet, add to her life, take nothing away, and keep it as low and minimum as possible. And so we integrated teas, we integrated some of our dandelion, drink, which is basically dandelion, and it cleans out the liver, cleans out the lymph. And we used it as a tea. We did increase her water intake. We had her measuring her water intake because she was not drinking near enough water, and her focused on just eating, bacon and eggs and bacon and sausage, or sausage and eggs for breakfast. And I think we actually did get her on a green drink. So we have a drink in our office called Greens 8000. And the Greens 8000 has 21 servings of fruits and vegetables packed in a powder. So it's great nutrients through the Greens 8000, which again, 21 servings of fruits and vegetables packed in a powder. And then the liver support, with the dandelion, and the body began to flow and function like it was supposed to. That was exciting for that patient.
Let's say, whenever somebody sees those kind of results, do they want to make more of a change? Okay, you added these things into my diet. Now I'm going to see what happens if I remove these other things out? Or it just depends on the person?
It depends on the person. Unfortunately, and we kind of, talked about it a little bit afterwards, because I got to, happen to be there that day because they had brought their mother-in-law in, and then the son is coming in next. And, we have all these referrals coming in from this experience, because when you get that kind of result, it's very exciting, and other people go, oh, I want on that train, and not everybody responds so easily, because it depends on where the congestion is. If the congestion is deep in the system, we've got to get the immune system, nervous system, endocrine system working in a strategic way deep. If it's something easy on the surface, and all you have to do is just kind of take the plunger and just do 3 or 4 plunges, and then boom, the lines open up and everything begins to flow. It's just a lot simpler, right? So it's not always there's the body is interesting because it's easy, it's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because it depends on where the congestion is, and that isn't always the easy thing to find. There's no medical test that can show you that. There's medical tests that give us clues. And then there's a gathering of information that we know is effective. I have a gal right now, kind of same story, didn't want to take any supplements, not accustomed to that lifestyle, kind of knew of the lifestyle, but wasn't really accustomed to it. And the only thing I really did is focused on, adding to her life, and I convinced her to just do a couple 5-day bowel cleanses. And when she observes that those are the things that she's doing, I will gently continue okay, these are the areas we're slipping, these are the areas we're doing good. Let's keep working on these areas that we're doing good and add to that. And then let's try this as an alternate, maybe a shake we could throw in there. Maybe we could let's drink this type of an unsweet tea instead of that or something. We just give her different ideas in order to get her away from these stimulants, to get her away from these artificial ingredients, to get her away from the processed food. And then all of a sudden, she's shifting towards a 70% healthier diet versus the 30%. So she's still making 40% progress. And that is the goal, is to move forward more than you're moving backwards, because you're always pushing the ball up the hill. And, you can't, John Maxwell always says you can't ever not be pushing the ball up the hill, because stagnant means you're moving backwards because you're always going up the hill. And in our health, in our leadership, in our businesses, and in our finances, in our spirituality, we always got to be moving the ball up the hill a little bit. There's work to be done. There's a journey to be had and an adventure to experience. And so we have to recognize that wherever we're at in the process, and in this case, this gal just needed us some bowel cleansing. And can it be as simple? Like, if I go back in all my studies and all my research and all the things I've looked at, if you take care of the bowels, if you take care of the liver, most everything else works out pretty well from a health perspective. Does it mean you can't have some hormonal glitches that need to be supported? Of course. I mean, there's always that, even in our perfect choice diet. I found the perfect diet, Dr. Chapa. Unfortunately, you're still going to have to supplement. I had a gal come in and says, I just want a juice. I don't want to ever take a supplement again. I just want a juice. I'm like, great. The problem is the juicing is just going to give you calories to sustain your day, but we still need to put those downloaded software programs in to run healthy process. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like we still aren't getting everything we need from our food anymore. Like that ship sailed. And so we have to look at what else can we do to maximize our vitamin, our mineral, our essential fatty acid load. When we have more foods that are rich and dense in vitamins, minerals, and essential fats, our brain works better, our nervous system works better, our endocrine system is healthier, our hormones, and our body begins to strategize that alliance, and it's like we become superheroes. And our body performs at supernatural levels, and we are able to think faster, and we're able to recall faster, and we're able to perform faster, and to create faster, and do more than we thought we could do, even in our quote-unquote elderly years, right? I mean, this idea that age slows you down or age isn't fun is that's what we're being sold and told. And when people don't have answers to your physiological demise, that's the answer that they give. And so I want people to go, wait a second, this guy's talking about something different. This guy's telling me that there is something I can do. And it's your life, your health, your choice. No matter where you're at in the process, no matter what your age, what medications you've been on, even no matter what surgeries you've had, is there going to be challenges the more you've been involved in the medical rigmarole? Of course there could be. But does that mean that you can't rebound? Does that mean that your body won't come back online? Heck no, man. Your body is versatile. Your body is powerful. Your body wants to be amazing and great. You just got to put the right tools in for the right amount of time, and you will begin to see that ship sail, turn into the wind, and you'll get off the shallows into the deep, adventurous, beautiful blue waters, and you'll feel exquisite. Doesn't that sound great?
It does sound.
Makes me sound like we should go on a cruise.
I've never been on one. I don't know if my stomach would do that well.
Oh, they're so much fun. They really are. You have to experience one.
That's what they say. Whenever the boat's big enough, like the equilibrium is okay. And
well, not only that the boat's big enough. I mean, a lot of these boats have like just outstanding stabilization factors. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you get into a nasty storm of sorts, but remember, the captain's never going to like drive straight into a storm. He's going to do what he can to get around it and keep y'all on point. And so I do recall some boats that had a little bit of a rock to them, but it was only for an hour or two. They get through through those waves, and then man, it's. Yeah, I mean, it's just smooth. It's so beautiful.
That does sound good. That kind of reminds me of two things. These analogies. The first one I was thinking of was the weather. You were talking about, hey, if you got a birthday coming up, the holidays are coming up. There's a potential storm coming.
Oh, I like it.
Hey, we wrap our
That's
pipes.
Great.
And same thing with the captain of the boat. He's trying to make sure everybody has an enjoyable experience. He sees there's weather. Hey, we're going to alter so that way you're planning because we have the technology, or we know that we can plan ahead. You don't fail to plan.
I think you got it, and you are the captain, And so when you look into the future and you see that there is a food storm coming.
Holiday parties coming up,
That's
New
right.
Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve is the next one, or and it very well could be a birthday after that. And there's gonna be Valentine's Day after that. There's gonna be Easter after that. You know what I mean? And then it's the summer festivities after that. I mean, come on. I mean, we are foodies. Every one of us want to eat and delight ourselves in things that sensationalize our taste buds. And so we're all guilty of it, myself included. Man. I was teasing my mom because when I get to my in-laws on a Christmas afternoon, she has this pie that's hiding. I'm like, I grabbed the 2 pies from the day before because they were like my style pies, or with the healthy sugars and they don't have the dairy, and you know what I mean. They're just better for me, and I like them, and they taste good for me. And but it was a pumpkin and a pecan pie, and but I go to take the food out of the car, and so I get the green beans. I'm excited about some green beans from the way my mom does them. Got the turkey and carving the turkey up, and got that done. And then I run out and grab the last thing in her back of her hatch was a pie, and I go, "Did you really?" I take it in because I didn't see it 'cause she had it covered. I take it in and I set it down on the counter and I peel the top of it off because she had one of those pie covers over it, and it was a caramel crisp apple pie it's all fresh apples, right? So like every bit of it's fresh. And I said, "Did you really just make a caramel crisp apple pie?" I've seen her make this. I mean, there's so much love that goes into this pie. I mean, it ain't like your average apple pie. No way, no how. Not even close, Gardy. Oh my gosh. And she goes, "I did." And I said, "Why? Why would you do that to me?" She goes, "Because I'm tired of pecan and pumpkin." And I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Well, thank you," because I was in the same boat. I wanted something different. And so we ate the lunch, and I didn't even mess around. Normally, I give myself some time, but I had a fair serving of food, and then I jumped right into that caramel crisp apple pie, boy. And,
it's a start of the gallbladder
that's
flush.
That's right. It's got to be. I'm going to tell her. I said, I figured out how we're going to do this all week. I'm just going to eat this. I mean, this is my solution.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't see that storm coming, but I had been eating pretty clean all week long, recognizing that the storm is coming. So me being the captain of my health ship, I wanted to make sure that I didn't get stuck on the shallows. I wanted to stay in the deep and enjoy the day. And by golly, it was delicious. I was able to indulge and feel like I was treated well. And bada bing, bada boom. I didn't crash and burn, and we had so much fun at the the Christmas holiday, playing games and seeing family and laughing and making fuss, and it was just good. It was just good, and that's what you're describing is if you know that there's a food storm coming. You, being the captain of your own ship, steer around that thing as much as you can by making sure your week is set up correctly, and then go to town. Enjoy that experience. Enjoy your birthday. Enjoy New Year's, and then get back on track the next day. It's not don't make it an ongoing. Don't make it an entire day. Make it a meal or an experience, but then get back on point. It's okay to walk away. So I always encourage patients, like whenever they know food storm is coming, and then we want to use things like I have this product called Cataplex GTF, which is chromium, picolinate, and other B vitamins to help regulate blood sugar, or gymnema, a great Peruvian herb that is phenomenal for managing cravings. We use other blood sugar regulators, bitter melon, for example, or berberine can help. These are different, nutrient herbs that we put together in products. One of them called Metabol, one of them called CM Core, Cataplex GTF. I mean, there's so many options to manage blood sugar and even better still, manage the cravings, right? So if you're somebody that is dealing with like absolute gonna eat, gnaw your arm off type level cravings, you need these extra support tools for sure. But you need to let us get underneath that and to give your body the B vitamins you need, the adrenal support your body needs, and to clean out your liver and your bowels so that your body doesn't crave those things. And I'm telling you, if you do it that way, if you allow us to put the antidotal, like immediate support in, but fix those underlying issues, your cravings go away and you don't crave anymore. And that's a miracle in and of itself, because it helps break that addiction to food. It helps break that psychological bond that it has on you that keeps you locked in to I need, I want. Instead of being addicted, you be the captain and the choice, and you go, I'm not going to go down that way. That I've already been down that path. And there are people that have blood sugar systems that are messed up so bad that we have to just encourage them to avoid, because there's one bite of chocolate pie or a chocolate cake can derail them for up to 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's not always there's a way around it. Sometimes it's an absolute, you have to about face go the other way because it's that detrimental to your system particularly. And I had that happen to one lady. She indulged in a bite of chocolate cake for her birthday, and it set her back 2 weeks. Now, had she let me know that was happening, it wouldn't have taken us 2 weeks to get her back on track. We could have used the Gymnema, the GTF, and we could have come in and helped her system manage those cravings to get her back on track sooner. But again, I think that's kind of what the sugar does, is it makes our brain glitch. We don't think clearly anymore once that blood sugar spiraling cycle begins to fall apart. When it's stable, our cravings are stable. When your blood sugar is unstable, your ability to think through logically things, I shouldn't eat that, you eat it anyway. Mm-hmm. And you just do it because, the bugs are winning at that point. They're craving, and they want, and they are desiring, and they're overpowering.
You've talked about, I think it's sugar being introduced in today. If it was never introduced and then today we got it, it would be considered a controlled substance. Well, we look at alcohol or drugs and stuff, and we realize, hey, that can be detrimental to you or make you act in a way that you probably wouldn't if you're drunk. Do something stupid, get in a fight, or
sugar.
Same thing,
sugar
right?
drunk. I mean, and it does. We could even call it the sugar blues. I mean, absolutely, it would be a controlled substance, and it would be regulated. But somehow, I mean, it's in everything. It's in nicotine. It's in obviously baked goods, processed goods. It's even chemically altered so that it has more of a sustainable effect on your system. Where if you eat like real sweet foods that have no artificial ingredients, there's a law of diminishing return, meaning you start it and it tastes great, but you kind of get over it.
Right.
And you're not necessarily wanting more of it. Whereas these chemically altered sugar substances, they don't do that. It is a continual satisfaction and exhilaration effect of dopamine in your brain to get this hit of like, oh, I need more of that feeling. I need more of that feeling until you're sick as a dog, bloated and run down and stuck in the sugar blues.
Yeah, I've had stuff like that happen before. I can't even remember the last time, to be honest, that this has been the case because I don't really drink milk. But growing up, I drank a lot of milk. Cow's milk, chocolate milk was my favorite. But no, you have like a chocolate donut. Hey, you take a drink of the chocolate milk. Hey, this is delicious. Take a bite of the donut, and it's like, no, this is sweeter. I can't even taste the chocolate milk anymore. I want the chocolate donut with the fudge and all that stuff on it.
Man,
not anymore.
I mean, you just paints a really great picture. But isn't it cool? That one little psychological trigger. I'd be curious to know the people that are listening. Right? How many of those people go, I'm going to have a donut today? Because you just painted such a really nice, ornate picture in our minds. And then how many people go, I can walk past that, And so I think that it's just fascinating to see where we're at in the process. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed about detoxification, doing our 21-day Ultimate Detox program, is that like literally anybody can do anything for 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, right? So if you focus on that, is everything you got, I'm gonna finish this thing. I'm not gonna eat the sugar. I'm not gonna do this. What happens is your ability to withstand the cravings, once you get past that 3 or 4 days, you're good to go. You know what I mean? And then you've done it for 12 days or 21 days. All of a sudden, you say to yourself, hey, this is exciting. I don't have to have that stuff. And that's where the first step of freedom comes in. When you realize that what you thought you had to have, you don't have to have. You can go one more day without, and you find yourself going days without, weeks without, months without. All of a sudden, you find yourself on that 7 steps forward progress and only 3 steps of negative progress, and you're always moving forward a net positive 4. You know what I mean? Like, we're always moving forward. Obviously, we want it 80-20. Obviously, we want it 90-10. Obviously, we want 100-0, where we're always sprinting to the health finish line, right? But the world is set up in a way where that's probably not likely. But if you do take some of the ideas that we're talking about and just listen to the stories and recognize you're not suffering alone, we're all going through it, and you can choose and win one battle a day, one week out of a month or 1 month out of a year, you start to realize that you are in control of your health and that you can do great things. And when you have a team of people that are around you, that are supporting you, that are building you up, that's what Living Well wants to be, your number one health and wellness resource. We desire that. We want to get in into the boat with you and help you navigate the terrain so that you feel your best, live your best all the days of your life. It becomes a fun journey to know that you can indulge whenever a storm's coming because you've prepped your pipes and you've rotated the tires, you've changed out the air filters, you've changed the oil, you've done all the maintenance. Your body can handle it, and it can, and it should be able to. And it's just like finding that honey pot in the wilderness, and you haven't had sugar in months, and all of a sudden you're like, gorge, but that little bit of gorging in that day isn't going to be anything to your body because your system has not seen that in so long. It's that 98.2, where you're moving forward 98% and back to. Now, I don't know if it'll ever get there for you, but you might be excited how your body feels at a 70-30, where you're moving forward on that 70% forward and 30% backwards plan. And so, don't beat yourself up. Get in the game, stay in the game the best you can. Let us coach you and teach you and guide you through so that you feel good all the days of your life, because it's possible. You can, no matter what you've been suffering with or dealing with, you can feel better. You can be drug-free. You can say no to the sugar and the stimulants, and you can thrive in a world that is just kind of setting us up to survive. And if you do it our way, the way that we teach at Living Well, where we get your vitamins, minerals, essential fats stable, we get your blood sugar stable, we get your rest habits intact, and we teach you to pay attention to the signs of body breakdown. If you allow us to coach you and teach you where your body's breaking down, you will be more equipped to tackle longevity in a thriving environment, not just a survival mode where you're just kind of getting through it. And we want you to thrive. And at Living Well, we believe that all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is the fundamental backbone. It is the conversation that needs to be had. And we can have that conversation 1 time, 50 times, 100 times, as many times as it takes, so that you get it and that you understand it, so that you can apply it not just to your life, but to your family's life, your kids' life, your grandkids' life. Everybody can benefit when we go down the health train, and we benefit, by supporting each other, and everybody's on board. Yes, we indulge and have fun during those stormy times, but we also know that those stormy times we have the ability as the captain of our health ship to navigate around those challenges that we will be faced with. It's just a matter of time. So remember, guys, at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we believe that all life starts and stops at cellular level, and nutrition helps you move forward in a positive way. We want you to choose wellness, choose life, one bite at a time. So God bless you guys. Have a wonderful and amazing rest of your year. We will check you later.
This is KHEA Radio.